Hello and welcome to the DXbiz Dev call for Monday, 23rd of May, 2022. We do not have any introductions today. On the agenda, sorry, we don't have any introductions. We do have Otterspace here, who's gonna start presenting in just a few minutes. Under DXbiz discussions, a discussion whether we should partner with another organization for a happy hour in ETHCC, and just another couple of things about ETHCC. And yeah, under DX events, we do have, sort of like the general ETHCC plan, the DX hack, and DevCon Bogota, and all the things that are happening around it. And I think we will have time to talk about sort of like Nimi and maybe the DXventures opportunities, and maybe hear some updates from the Nimi team. So yeah, Ben, are you here? You have the stage and the mic. Happy to hear what you guys are building and yeah, how we can use it. I think you already spoke to Melanie, which I don't see her here, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. Thanks.
I'm sorry. I thought Ben dropped off.
Oh yeah.
I was just going to take over. Sorry, hostile takeover here, Ben. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Emily. I was going to hand over to Emily anyway, since she's responsible for product and will lead the demo. So yeah, I'm Ben, one of the co-founders of Otterspace. Super excited to be chatting with you about Otterspace today.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily. I'm one of the other co-founders of Otterspace, and I'm working on the product side of things. Just to start off, I'd love to know what you have allocated for us. I just want to be mindful of your time.
So probably like 15 to 20 minutes, and then another 5 to 10 minutes of questions if there are any.
Okay, cool. I'll try to keep it on the shorter side as well. I don't think we'll actually need that full time. Okay. Cool. So I don't have a ton of context about you all, but I do know that you're very much on-chain maximalist, which is very interesting for us because some of the tooling we're building, we think could be very helpful to communities like you. So we'd love to hear your feedback. Maybe I'm completely off base, and that's cool too. Open to all feedback, especially the critical stuff, because that will help us improve. So what I'm going to show you today is a demo of the next version of our product, which is coming out pretty soon, but it's still very early stages. Like it doesn't look super polished and stuff. I'm going to walk you through a Figma prototype. So yeah, just keep that in mind, and feel free to maybe keep the questions for the end, and I'll just try to be quite quick with walking you through things.
Awesome.
How does that work? Can I share my screen actually? Is that?
Yeah, you can do that.
Cool, I've never used this. Okay, cool, this is nice. I can share a tab. All right. Okay, so what you can see here, so maybe I'll give a little bit of context, like high level, before I drop you into all of this. Basically, what we're doing with Otterspace is we're building a protocol for badges that DAOs can use to represent whatever you want. So we're taking a lot of inspiration from systems like the Scout badges, military badges, crests, and different systems like that, which have been common throughout history to kind of give people recognition, associate them with a specific community, give them a specific role that they represent through the badge. So kind of bringing that into the DAO world, and we're already seeing quite a few DAOs actually, implementing this type of thing internally, and we want to introduce a framework and a set of tools and a standard for any DAO to be able to implement badges. So what you're going to see now here is, imagine you're representing the DAO, and you're going to set up your DAO and set up your first badge on Otterspace. So first there's a sign-in, of course. So sign in with your wallet. So the first step is setting up a DAO. We're actually considering, so the reason that we have this step is because every badge is connected with an organization. So that's like one of the core tenets of the badge system that we've designed, just based on like what we've seen other DAOs do, and also other badge systems in the world, like the Scouts. It is always connected with an organization or a sub-organization. And so that's why we're creating a registry of DAOs, but we may actually just use the NS for this. We're still on the fence about that. So basically the first step is like there needs to be a DAO entity created, and that could be just represented through an ENS, or it could be we could end up creating our own registry, which just has like name and an image, and then the address owner of that DAO. And then the Discord server ID is optional. We have a Discord bot, which I'll go into later. And the creator address is the person who's actually setting up this DAO. And then in the next step, you can install a Discord bot. This is optional, and this would allow you to assign roles in Discord based on badge ownership, which you'll see how that becomes relevant later. Then the next step is creating a new badge. So as I said initially, we're very unopinionated about what badges are or what they can represent. I'll give you a few examples from the DAOs that we've been working with. So one DAO we're working with, MetaStreet, they have badges representing levels. So they have level 1 through level 5, and they have a custom name. So they have like the salt trade badge, the tea trade badge, and that represents like a progression of like going deeper into the DAO by earning each of these different level badges. A different DAO working with Cabin DAO, they've thought about badges for a long time as well, and they have a badge that it's a POAP actually. It's kind of a misuse of what a POAP is for, but it was the easiest way for them to do it at the time. And it's the badge that was given to the people who won the contest for naming the cows at the Cabin DAO property. So it's like a contest, and then the winners of the contest got this badge. So that's just to give you an example of like a badge could be anything. It could be a core contributor badge, which all the core contributors get. It could be an engineering guild badge, which everyone in that guild gets. So the idea here is like, it's very unopinionated. You can create a badge for anything. The only thing is it needs to have an artwork, a name, and be associated with the DAO. And then the other important thing is every badge needs to have a rule set for how it can be earned. Because if there's no rule set about how this badge can be earned, then anyone can just mint any badge and then they have no meaning. So in this first version of the product, we have only one type of rule set for minting badges, which is that one account can give badges to another account. So here you can see in the screen here, this badge can be assigned by a specific address. So if you take the example of a DAO that is using the badges for their community members, the community lead address might be the one input here, and then the community lead address can basically decide manually who gets this badge. But this is just like the first version of this because it was the easiest to build. But actually in the next version, what we'll be shipping is that you can put in a set of on and off chain requirements. So you can think of that as like a quest or a mission that people have to complete a set of tasks before they can earn the badge. So this would be kind of like creating these like very permissionless quests. So might be like to onboard to the engineering guild and get the engineering guild badge, you need to complete these 5 things. And that could be on-chain stuff, but we're also building an app that allows you to do off-chain things that the app will then kind of like act as a validator that those off-chain things have been completed. And then the next step is adding Discord roles. As I said, that's optional, but we have a bot that can then assign the Discord roles to everyone who gets the badge. And then the final piece of information in the badge is the expiry rule. We think this is going to be really important for badges that are like a temporary role in a DAO. So like one use case we see is the community lead badge. You know, maybe one person got elected to be the community lead for 3 months, and then you can set the expiry for the community lead badge to 3 months after minting. Okay, then in the
this
next...
is all on chain, like on Ethereum mainnet?
We are most likely going to launch this on Optimism to reduce the minting costs.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, these badges are on chain. So I can say a bit more about the badges themselves. We have an EIP in progress for 973, which is for non-transferable NFTs. So that they're based on the 721 construct, but they are non-transferable. We can get more into that later. We're working on a light paper for the protocol, and the idea is that they are non-transferable, but they are revocable and reassignable. And there's we can talk more about the mechanisms for how we can do that in a decentralized way, but the idea is that they're in principle non-transferable, but we know that we need to have methods for the badges to be taken away from bad actors or to be reassigned to a different account if someone loses access to their primary account. Okay, so if we go next, I'm just going to skip through that. So the final step, once you've created a badge, is to invite members to mint that badge. So as I said, like in this first version, the only way to give out a badge will be manually. So someone actually comes in here and says, like, these are the 10 people that can mint this badge, and then they can also add people later. It's not like they have to add everyone at once. So the main use case that we're kind of working with for this very first version is that, you know, say there's a core contributor badge, right? So there's only like 20 people and it's, you know, very manual, like the community lead knows who they are. And so they kind of, you know, add them to the list and then they can claim the badge. But as I said, like what we're working on for the next milestone is to actually, that you can create like a kind of set of requirements that's like more permissionless for someone to actually earn the badge. So that's pretty much it, right? You just add people, the badge is ready, you can share the link. And then now we're seeing, like, imagine someone shared the link with me, I'm gonna get the core contributor badge because the community lead knows I'm a core contributor. They sent me the link and then I basically just signed to confirm that I control that wallet. And then transactions pending, okay, let's pretend it didn't fail. So I earned the badge. And then with the Discord bot, the roles, any associated roles would be assigned to me. And of course, this badge can be used by any other like on-chain decentralized apps. So the ones we're working with right now, we're talking with about integrations are Snapshot, Clarity, DWork, Wonderverse, Utopia Labs. Those are the ones that come to mind. So the idea is that you could use these tokens to gate any application. You can use them for governance. You could use them to distribute governance weights based on badge ownership. Another use case is, so we have the concept of a DAO, but we also want to introduce the concept of DAOs and sub-DAOs. And then if you have a badge associated with a sub-DAO, you could actually give more governance weight to contributors that are involved with a specific sub-DAO on voting on elements of that sub-DAO, if that makes sense. That's another use case we've had a lot from DAOs, but yeah, so that's the idea. That's basically it. It's pretty straightforward, but I'm sure there's a lot of questions. So yeah, feel free to ask away.
Yeah, so like this, anyone has any questions?
Is there kind of a possibility to integrate a design system behind kind of the badges so they are kind of updated automatically, or the colors can be changed with the code? Also, some generative system, some rules that changes the badges according to different roles of a contributor.
I haven't thought a lot about that, so that I'd be interested in hearing what your thoughts were. But the idea is that the badges have an image and a name, and then if you have a UI, you could display the badges in your UI in whatever way you want. So that's a use case that we know a few DAOs we're working with. They actually want to have their own UI for displaying people's profiles with their badges, displaying the different badges that can be earned, and you could completely display that in whatever way you want. But the badge itself doesn't have any color properties or anything like that.
Do you have plans on launching it on anything other than Optimism?
We were considering mainnet and Optimism. I'd be curious if there's any other chains that you would be interested in. Yeah, I'm assuming that was the kind of the reason that you asked.
So we do most of our like contributor proposals and like the way contributors get paid on Gnosis Chain. And so, yeah, I was just thinking it'd be very cool if we could build, yeah, as Nathan says in the chat, there's a lot of DAOs on Gnosis because it's very cheap. But yeah, it would be very cool if we could automate. So like when users are creating their proposals to get paid, they could select what role they're in, and based on that get badges. Likely for us, it wouldn't be directly for governance because it'd be kind of complicated to build it into our system as it is already. But even just for like the social or being able to view what sort of roles people have in the UI would be very cool. So yeah, it's just be difficult if it was not on Gnosis Chain.
On Gnosis. Okay, yeah. Well, I'll take that back to the engineers. I'm not an engineer myself, so I don't have a great concept of like how much more work it would be to launch on different chains. But
yeah, I think in theory it shouldn't be too much because it's just another EVM chain.
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing that, just speaking of the payments, we're also working on an integration with the DRIPS protocol by Radical, which is kind of a money streaming protocol. And the idea would be that you could connect a DRIP to a badge, and if that badge has an expiry time window, then that a money DRIP would go to the holder of that badge for the time of before it expires. So that would be another use case if you have core contributors with specific roles that have, you know, like a 3-month period, then you could actually automate the payments as well.
Yeah, interesting. So I think Ross kind of like touched on the current state, but so I don't know if you know exactly how like the DXDAO governance works, but today we're using sort of like non-transferable reputation as the voting power. That's the system. Our long-term plan is to move to sort of like a dual system that also has, you know, like a token or a vested token, and then also this sort of like non-transferable reputation. And yeah, Ross, so like their EIP that they're proposing, I think that could be an interesting thing to propose, to use in this, you know, future system. I don't know what you're thinking about this, or if this makes sense.
I don't know if that was more towards the Otter guys or towards me.
Yeah, it was towards you, I guess.
yeah. So like me and Geronimo also had this chat about like a system where it was like we had a similar idea where reputation was more like an NFT where you had different types based on the work you're doing, and it would just like show more of a social status than just it being a number. It's quite complex and like more difficult to set up, and by that definition, like it makes it a bit more difficult for the system to be flexible because you kind of have to like have a way of defining all of your like different roles and stuff as soon as you begin, and anytime you're playing around with that, you're kind of playing around with the power dynamics of the DAO, which is like fine maybe if you're considering it for a smaller DAO, but when you think about it for something like us, then it's a lot more dangerous. But it's a cool idea, I think. Yeah, I don't know about it being in the first version of governance 2.0, which is what we've like defined as that split, where we have liquid tokens as well as non-liquid token voting, and a formula for that. But I think in the future it's very cool. Like as an idea.
How do you currently measure reputation and then reflect that in governance?
Yeah, so it's just a simple percentage, total supply, and then how much you own is the percentage. In 2.0, where we have
is that given out?
It's every contributor proposal, you get 0.1667% of total supply. So it just inflates over time.
Okay.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of documentation on it, and yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah, I'd love to check that out. Yeah, to go back to kind of how we've been thinking about reputation. So the way you're describing is one model. We also see like the Zodiac team is building these like upgradable NFTs, which it's sort of something that like grows and accrues over time. The way we've been thinking about it is introducing these tokens as these sort of atomic units that can represent different things. And then downstream of that, different applications can interpret your ownership of a set of these units as a reputation score or as a governance score or something like that. So we're kind of taking away, separating the logic of earning a badge and having a badge from whatever that badge gets you downstream, whether that's like governance or reputation. And so other ideas that like other apps can build on top of these primitives to kind of interpret whatever they want from it.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. I guess more going down the route of like a universal reputation across like multiple DAOs. It's very cool.
Yeah, cool. Are there any other questions for anyone? Emily, when is this going to go live? Like, when are you deploying?
In the next few weeks, we'll be entering sort of testing with a few smaller DAOs, and then over the next 1 to 2 months, we'll be selected or progressively launching like smaller pieces.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think the first version will be able to be played around with in the next few weeks.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, we would be interested to like sort of try and test this out.
Yeah, as I said, there's a lot of different use cases, right? Like even if you just want to use it to give an award to a competition of something, instead of using a POAP. But yeah, I'd be open to all other feedback. Like if anyone thinks of anything, asynchronously, please do send it over. I'd also be curious your thoughts on, how much of this being on chain and like how important that is for you. That would be, interesting for me to know.
I mean, if it's not on chain, it doesn't exist, right?
Okay, well, that's my answer then.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not on chain, then it's on someone's server, and then if it's on some build on top of it.
Yeah. There's, as I said in the second version of the product, or in the next milestone, tasks, and basically Otterspace would validate them, and that's only for tasks that we currently don't have a way to do on chain in an efficient or good way. So it wouldn't be like a requirement to use those. But I'm guessing that would like be a no-go for you all to have any kind of like off-chain activity be part of earning a badge.
I don't think it has to be against it depending on what it's for. Like if we were to use it as a governance badge that actually gave you governance, I think we'd be against it. If it was just like a UI element that highlighted you on a forum or something, then maybe not so much.
Yeah, I guess that's true. If it's just simply a signal or something to see, then yeah, I guess it could be like from off-chain things, but yeah.
Okay,
like
cool.
we wouldn't be able to give it weight, I guess, at the end.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of the system. Like some of the badges can be kind of not meaningless, but like less meaningful. Like, you got to name the cow, and then some other badges can be like highly meaningful. Like, you're a level 7 engineering guild contributor and you get a lot of weight in those decisions or something.
Yeah, the initial rule that you showed of just giving one address the right to mint the badges actually would probably be all we would need to do like a role system, just because we already have the avatar address doing these, executing these and giving contributors their pay anyways. So it'd actually be quite simple.
So you already have a contract address that is responsible for assigning sort of powers and payment to individuals.
Yeah, I mean, it's as close as we have to just the DAO. The avatar is DXDAO on each chain. So yeah, we just put that in there, I guess.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone else have any other questions? Yeah. So usually, sort of like the next step, and like a way to sort of keep communications is we either open, like usually it's a Telegram group, but I think like we were communicating on Discord, so this could also be like a Discord group. But I think that's limited to 10 people maybe. So I don't know if you guys are using Telegram, but
We can
yeah,
use Telegram if you prefer that.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do that. And yeah, basically like a a DXDAO Otterspace Telegram group where we'd love to hear about updates and sort of stay in touch about like future questions.
Yeah, that sounds great. We can we can send you updates and let you know when we have something that you can play around with, and send us any questions or feedback you have.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Then yeah, we'll if I think I wrote this a while ago, like inside of one of the chats, but I think if something is going to be decentralized or is on chain, and planning to sort of like be a like a foundational piece, like so DXDAO will try it. We will try it. We will test it out, and yeah, we like things that are on chain, basically. So yeah.
Cool. Thanks for giving us the time. I think I have to jump in a couple minutes anyway. But thanks so much for inviting us into your meeting.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thanks you for participating, and I'll create a Telegram group and send it over.
Yeah. Also from my side, thanks everyone for the great questions and the feedback as well.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So yeah, for the next topics we have, so generally ETHCC, I think, is there a sale happening in a couple of days? Yeah. So there's a sale happening on the 31st, and then.
Yeah, that's next Tuesday.
Yeah. So that's that, and then we also need to figure out whether we partner with any other organizations for like the whatever we're doing at ETHCC.
Yeah, you suggested the idea like a couple of weeks back, and I circled back to it, and I thought I remember attending the DXventures happy hour, and it kind of like draws the attention to whoever is doing the happy hour, and people pay more attention like that. It's more concentrated. It kind of like the organization organizing it is being highlighted, rather than remember all the swag in the co-working space. It was just on display, like what do you call it in the hotels, like full service? No, a buffet where you just grab whatever you like. It's very impersonal. So I thought, if we wish, it's probably more of a conversation for tomorrow during the DX voice call, but if we wish to do some interesting carrot campaign or any type of marketing or swag, we could organize some type of a happy hour. It doesn't have to be like a huge party where we try and find a big venue, spend a lot of money. It could basically be just a happy hour.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the question is here: do we want to partner with someone else? Are we open for something?
Yeah, not necessarily. Like, we could either do it all on our own, or if we know any organization attending that we really like and feel aligned with them, we could do it together. But we could also do it by ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if like would we? What about like doing something with Gnosis? Would people be open for that? I think that's kind of like the organization we're most close to, or like maybe Gnosis Chain.
I would personally love that. Yeah, we could totally explore this, and I think it's achievable. It's not outlandish or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Well, let's talk further tomorrow then. Just announcing it as an idea for people to think about, let it marinate, have people think about it throughout the week, and if something comes up, guys, feel free to share it in Keybase, and yeah, we'll see how it develops further.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that. Another kind of like thing that came up is to use the happy hour for swag and pro materials for Carrot.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you want to expand on that? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like we've been, we explored, different fun use cases for Carrot with the social media campaign, the Twitter, DXDAO Twitter awareness in Amsterdam. And it was, in a way, a success because with a tiny expenditure, almost non-existent, we gained a lot of publicity, and the campaign was somewhat successful in terms of achieving the end goal by having 5 influencers ending up following DXDAO. And we wanted to follow up with another interesting, fun use case for promo purposes to highlight Carrot. It doesn't have to be anything grandiose and like perfect. It has to be something light, funny, making people enjoy participating in it. It doesn't have to be something serious. So I believe if we come up with some interesting game, maybe that launches during the happy hour or concludes during the happy hour, and somehow leverages Carrot, would be interesting as well. Yeah, just another food for thought.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how we can do like online brainstorming sessions, things like that, because that's kind of what's needed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's that, and then yeah, the sale itself is happening for ETHCC is happening next week on Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
And we still are trying to get like a team ticket, like a 5-pack ticket or something. I think someone in the chat mentioned that they were selling like 50 tickets, right?
That limit was just for the individual purchases. For group ticket purchases, the limit was a lot higher, but there was another issue. They didn't announce properly the options people had when they were purchasing group tickets. It ended up being limited to just I think on-chain. So people who were prepared to buy a group ticket but only had a card at hand couldn't. So it was like a huge mess. And we're hopefully prepared for next time. We need to coordinate in the channel and see who's managed to secure one for themselves personally and who's left out without a ticket and still wants to attend. So we could do another list of people who wish to get one procured for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
You I'll call you out, man. Like, you left John in the trenches. Like, you ghosted him. You said you're gonna help out and you were nowhere to be found.
Yeah, sorry, I was.
What happened?
I was busy basically. So I'm probably not even coming, but I'll happily try to get you guys tickets.
All right. Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, like Uniswap just the proposal passed to deploy on Gnosis Chain.
Yeah, big.
Yeah.
I think this will bring a lot more liquidity to Swapper as well.
Yeah.
Once people lose enough money trying to LP on UniV3, even though Gnosis will give them the perfect environment to test and manage their positions, unlike mainnet with the expensive gas, no matter how cheap it is at the moment. It's still not easy to manage those NFT, LP positions. Gnosis will be a whole different ball game. I think people will be experimenting a lot. I think they'll still lose a lot of money trying to LP if they don't know what they're doing. But yeah, this should bring a lot of volume and traffic. I'm very excited about this. Good times for Gnosis.
Yeah, is anyone aware of any like Uniswap V3 position management?
Oh yeah,
Or
there
something?
are such tools. Yeah, there are also other tools that are actually competing in a way with Swapper, offering LPs incentives. Like there are vaults where people could lock their NFTs and earn rewards for LPing on Uniswap. And this is kind of like the business of Swapper with the DIY farming. We should just upgrade to allow NFTs.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a complexity.
Yeah. Big one, requiring audits and stuff. So not easier said than done.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else, or people want to talk about anything else. We're kind of at the end of the call, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the DXbiz team is chatting with a couple of teams that wish to propose to DXDAO for request for funding. We're filling in the due diligence documentation, and they are actually interested in using Carrot the way Atlantis World did. So we'll see a lot more of that, and it will help us popularize it, and it will make our lives actually easier with scaling DXventures, because you would have startups kind of like competing for your money and like giving each other a run for the buck, trying to one-up each other with as many deliverables as possible so that we accept their carrots that they would give us, and if they deliver, we would basically, for us to actually create the campaign, give them the carrots, and for them to start working on it. We're kind of like reinventing and upending the VC business.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so I think so. Just to kind of like say on this like bear market things, like this is like the people who were here, I guess, in the last bear market. I think John was kind of like talking about this in the past, where right now, like last year, was just like all the next new best rage, which is like it doesn't really make sense, and everybody's like going to it, like sort of like the Andre Cronje symptom of like the next new shiny thing. And the bear market is really the nicest time to actually build, and the people who are staying here are the interesting builders, and so I think DXventures is going to have a lot more opportunities in this coming, basically in this bear market. Less noise, better startups, like Nimi.
Nimi, yeah.
So I guess, do you want to talk about Nimi maybe? I wasn't following up. Like I was away.
What I could say about Nimi is it's what is unique about it is the people behind Nimi have reputation, and this speaks volumes. Everybody's talking about reputation, soulbound reputation, and stuff like this. Like, what is more valuable than seeing a bunch of entrepreneurs building a new product, and the way you could build your confidence in them is by seeing that they've actually earned reputation and they have a solid background. I think it's something worth talking about in maybe one of our community calls or on a podcast or the Twitter Spaces we'll be doing soon?
Maybe I can chime in a bit. So
please share some alpha.
Well, we're still being approached by a potential VC firms, but we're still looking for funding from DXDAO. Probably this is a record call, so I'm not gonna talk a lot, but overall the product is still being developed. We're looking for a lot of cool integrations, especially with NFTs, payments. Basically, if you go to Linktree and try the product for yourself, it's very centralized, but we're going to bring all of that features and adapt them for like Web3 ecosystem. I believe like 2/3 of what Linktree has on their belt can be actually found in the Web3. For example, you have Spotify, you can have music NFTs, basically social media links can be something like Lens protocol. We're going to also have like a very specific Lens protocol integration where you can either deploy your current Nimi as a Lens protocol profile and vice versa. So you can have Nimi page where you have like a personalized web page, but you can also have you can have Nimi as your source for almost all the other protocols that are going to build on Lens protocol. That's on the product side. Maybe John, would you all like to add a few words?
Sorry, I was chatting with Ben or Roy from DAOstack about Alchemy. What's the latest? What's the question?
We were just discussing Nimi in general, and if you want to say a few things on what we're working on.
I don't think I have anything new from like last time, other than that like there's still like an effort to get the like a little bit of a better version out that is something along the lines of Linktree but decentralized.
And I was just telling them about music NFTs and other NFT integrations that we can have down the line. So back to you, Nylon. What do you think?
Yeah. So I really like the fact that you can like personal websites or whatever, like these are big thing in like Web 2, but in order to do that you have to whatever, like buy a DNS, like a DNS and like a provider and all that stuff. And it's a very interesting use case to just allow people to create these sort of personal websites that are owned by them. And then from here, like interesting to see if we can integrate like Mirror, right, which is like the Web3, like the crypto medium alternative, and all these things to sort of be inside your ENS name. And I'm really, I think this is a really cool concept. And who's better to do this other than DXDAO, who's literally been the only ones using our ENS names, like practically no one else has. So yeah. I guess this is sort of like the end of the call, and I see the skies here, so maybe we can like turn off the recording and talk about some stuff.